Hello and welcome to the end of year book tag. This tag is a fairly chill one. It's fairly simple. I think there are only like 6 questions. It was created by Ariel Bissett, who is or was a booktuber. I think she's mainly doing like home renovation videos now. So I don't really feel the need to ramble on. I'm just going to answer the questions and tell you about some books. First question is, are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? There are a couple that I would really like to finish. I don't need to finish most of these, but I would really like to, just for my own peace of mind. But let's start with the first one that I do actually need to finish, otherwise I'll be upset with myself. I started Oathbringer at the beginning of this month. I'm literally 17 pages in. I started this series when the first book came out in paperback, so probably like 2016, and I've just not kept up with it. But I would really like to read Oathbringer this month and Rhythm of War next month, so that then I can kind of be involved in the is it Wind and Truth? The hype for the 5th book, basically, because that's coming out in December. And then I believe Brandon Sanderson is going to take a very long break from writing the Stormlight Archive books. He always posts about his schedule on his website and I kind of keep up with it and pay attention, but mainly I get my information from Reddit. So I started this in about a week ago now, and I've not really kept up with it. So I would really like to at least finish Oathbringer this year. Otherwise, why am I saying all of these things? So this is the 3rd book in the Stormlight Archive series. I don't really know what's going to happen in this one. I've avoided all spoilers. I'm currently in a chapter where Dalinar is kind of having a bit of a crisis, like this early on, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about the vibe for the rest of the book. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's why I haven't really picked this up, because I'm stuck in this Dalinar chapter where he's just going like on and on. I like Dalinar, but I much prefer Cal, and that's probably not a popular opinion. However, I did also see at the beginning of the part, because Brandon Sanderson does these things where it's just like part 1 and then it talks about whose points of view you're going to get in this part, and Adeline gets a point of view at some point. So I'm going to keep reading for him because I ship him with Cal and I want to see what they got up to. And then I have 3 other books that I did start this year, one of which I started last year that I've just never finished. So the one that I started last year was The Silence of the Girls, and I don't know why I didn't carry on reading this. I think I got like 50 pages in and I was loving the writing style. This is written beautifully. So I would really like to finish this off this year and maybe carry on with the series next year, because it's a series of, I think it's a trilogy, but I don't know if it's like companion novels. And this is basically about the women of Troy, essentially, who were kidnapped by the Trojans. It doesn't follow Helen, it follows a different queen called Briseis. And yeah, I remember really enjoying the first few chapters that I read, so I'd like to carry on with that and finish it this year. Another one is kind of a stretch goal. It's not really. I can do it if I put my mind to it, but I'm just not focused enough. I would really like to finish off The Rage of Dragons, so I read 19 pages of this one. You'll see this is the theme with me. I get really hyped and then I just don't carry on. This sounds like it's Game of Thrones meets Gladiator. I think it sounds a bit like Spartacus, to be honest. And Essay Track Reporty blurbed it on the front, so I would really like to read this one. I think the 3rd book is coming out next year, so it would be really good time if I finish this one this year, read the 2nd one if I love it, and then be ready for the 3rd book's release. So yeah, I'd really like to read this one. And then another one that's quite a chunky one is Ascendant. This one is the 1st book in the Songs of Chaos trilogy or series. It's self-published or indie published, I'm not sure which. And I bought these directly from the author. I've got the entire trilogy and I've read 110 pages of this one. I was loving it, but I put it down and then I didn't pick it back up again. This keeps happening to me. But I would really like to finish this 1st book and see what I think of it and then read the rest of the series at some point. This one is about dragons, a blind dragon at that, which is adorable. I might have to restart it. Because I didn't take any notes the first time. That was a few months ago that I started reading it. But I would really like to read this one. The next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I do, and I've actually already read one. I read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches this month. I mentioned this or I spoke all about it in my witchy reading vlog, which should already be up, fingers crossed. If it's not, it's coming soon. I'll link it below if I have already uploaded it. This one follows a woman who is a witch, and she goes to this home where there are 3 children who are also witches, and the people who are looking after them ask her to train them to use their magic because they're not used to it. And it's honestly just lovely. It's mainly set in October, November time, and then a little bit in December as well. And it's very atmospheric, just very lovely and autumnal, which is the vibe that we're going for. I also have The Drowned Woods, which I think is also going to be very atmospheric. This is set in fantasy Wales, or just Wales maybe. Yes, so historic Wales. Emily Lloyd-Jones's books are always really atmospheric, so I'm expecting this one to be quite autumnal. seasonal, even if it's set during summer, which it might be, I don't know. It's still set in Wales, so it's probably going to be dark and dreary. So yeah, there's this one. And then I've got 2 winter books as well, because I really wanted to read a couple of like snowy thrillers, because Ruth Ware did one of those a few years ago and I loved it. So I would really like to read something similar again. So I've picked up The Drift by C.J. Tudor, an overturned coach full of students, all of them trapped, a stranded cable car full of strangers, one of them is dead. There's a snowstorm and no rescue coming. So that one sounds really intriguing to me. And then this one is kind of similar. It's Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, who is an author that I've been exploring this year. I've been reading a lot of their stuff. This is about a woman called Krista who joins a tour group in the Rocky Mountains, and then I think they all get stuck and then someone gets like beheaded. I really like Darcy Coates' books and they're always really fast paced, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. She has written a lot of books. I was considering trying to do a which Darcy Coates book is best video, but this is her bibliography and she has written more since this was published, so yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that, but I'm quite happy to be exploring her backlist. She's a very good author. The next question is there a new release that you're still waiting for? And I don't know if there is. Obviously I do my new releases videos every single month and I talk about the books that I'm anticipating, but I don't think there are any that I'm like, I have to have that. Let me just have a quick look through NetGalley, because I was approved for a couple of books recently, even though I shouldn't be requesting them. But I think most of my like must-have new releases are actually coming out next year now. Oh, that's a lie, ignore what I just said. There is Revenant X by David Wellington. This is a space horror book and it's the sequel to another book. I can't remember the name. I'll put the cover here. I think it's called Paradise One. It's called Paradise One, and I really enjoyed that one. I've been anticipating this sequel and I recently got approved for it on NetGalley, so that's really exciting. Also, at the time that I'm recording this, I'm waiting for This Cursed House to come out, which is a haunted house book, but I do have this on NetGalley as well, so I'm hoping to read it this coming weekend when I'm on my own in a hotel room. So I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I think those are the main ones that I'm really looking forward to. Obviously there's Wind and Truth, which I've already spoken about. I think that's pretty much it. End of the year tends to be a bit quieter than the first 3/4 of the year for new releases. I'm sure there are others that I would like to get my hands on. The next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the year ends? And obviously I want to read all of the ones that I've previously mentioned, but there are 3 5-star predictions that I would really like to read. I want to read all of my 5-star predictions this year and do a video on them, but the thing is, the only other 5-star prediction that I've read this year ended up being a DNF. So I have learned that I can't trust myself. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I would really like to read these 3 in particular because I am convinced I'm going to give them 5 stars. So the first one is Pachinko, and this is like a generational historical literary book. It's set initially in Korea in 1911. Yes, 1911, and it follows a Korean family who they go to live in Japan, and it's about the family sort of settling in, learning to live in a different country and missing their homeland. This has also been turned into, I believe, a TV show. Everyone loves it, so I'm convinced I'm going to love this. It sounds like exactly the kind of thing that I would enjoy. Also, the more I look at this cover, the more I just love it. It's stunning. So there's that one. I also predicted that I would give The Phoenix King 5 stars, and I follow the author, or I did follow the author on Twitter before I deleted the app, and I just love the fan art for this series. So I'm convinced that I'm going to love this one. This is a fantasy book, Indian inspired. It's about princesses and assassins, all the stuff that I love. So I do think that I will really enjoy this one. So this is the 5-star prediction. And then finally, I think I had a few more, but I can't remember where I've put them. My other 5-star prediction is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. This sounds like the kinds of fanficky or fiction press books. If anyone remembers fiction press, I used to read a lot of werewolf fiction, and this sounds like what I used to read. So this is basically about a werewolf family and gay werewolves, I think. And I just love these covers. I haven't been buying them in hardback, but I probably should have. I was just waiting to see if I did actually love this book, but I'm convinced I'm going to give this 5 stars, so I would really like to read it by the end of the year. The next question is there a book that could shock you and be a favourite of the year? I struggle with this question. I think a lot of people do, because it wouldn't really be shocking if I'm like half predicting it. However, there are 3 books that I'm quite intrigued by, and I think they have potential. So the first one is One Dark Window. This is like a TikTok famous book. It's the first in a duology. It's about like monsters and things, I think. Otherwise, I don't know what it's about, but I do think that I could really enjoy it. It could be a favourite of the year if I believe the hype. I'm very hesitant to trust TikTok hype after a couple of duds. Sometimes people do have good taste. So I'm going to try this one, hopefully, and hopefully I like it. I really hope that I do. Another one that has potential is Love Light Farms, again, because of the hype. I think this one sounds really cute. I often don't give contemporary romances 5 stars unless they like really hit, which is why I'm hesitant with this one, but I'm open to it being a 5-star read It's just I'm not sure, and that's why that's a maybe. And then another one which I think does have potential is A Marvelous Light. I just think all of the things I've heard about this one just make it sound like something that I could really enjoy. It could also go in the other direction. I might not enjoy it very much, but I've got everything crossed for this. So again, this one could surprise me and become a favourite of the year if I read it this year. And then the final question is about whether I've already started to make plans for the next year, like reading plans, booktube plans, etc. And I actually haven't. I haven't really made any plans for next year yet. I've been mainly focusing on getting things ready for vlogmas, which I would like to do this year. So that's really exciting. It's taking up a lot of my time because it does take a lot of planning, because this year I'm trying to post every single day in the run up to Christmas, which, yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. It might end up being every other day. It depends how much I can get pre-recorded. So I've been making booktube plans for that, and obviously reading plans with all of these, but I've not really focused on next year at all yet. I've been looking at some new releases and things, and I've considered some recaps that I do need to post, but otherwise no, I haven't really thought about next year's reading yet. I don't really tend to plan that far in advance anyway, just because my reading plans change all the freaking time. It's basically impossible for me to do that. I would really like to focus on my TBR books. I say this every single year, but I do have a TBR challenge that I'm starting in December as part of Vlogmas, but I'm going to continue that throughout the year. So that's kind of a reading plan, I guess, as well as a booktube plan. I am hoping to, yeah, debut that in December, ready for Vlogmas, and then hopefully continue it every month throughout the year. So yeah, there's that, I suppose. And then other than that, no, I haven't. And with that, that's all the questions. Feel free to answer them in the comments below if you don't have a channel. Otherwise, if you haven't done this, then you are tagged. Congratulations. Let me know what your reading plans for the rest of the year are. I would love to know. And also, do you have any 5-star predictions? Otherwise, thank you for watching this video, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.